this was a piece that was actually in the draft rules from 2006, 2007, and John actually amended it on the floor that meeting, and he had put in something convoluted about 6 council members being able to pull something after a certain amount of days, and 5 council members.
Maybe it's convoluted, but you voted in favor.
We did. But we voted in favor of it, but we didn't use it during the time. So we just decided to go back to the more simple thing, which is just that if there is a piece of legislation in committee that is not moving out, the council president has the ability to pull it out and send it to the rules committee. It's actually a power that I don't need because I have the right to call a special meeting at any time, but it just makes it procedural. We've only had a couple of instances in the last 2 years where the committee chairman was not supporting legislation such as the budget, and in that case the budget chairman gave us permission to remove it anyway, so we didn't have conflict. We just wanted to put it down. We then move on to item 14, Rule 17.1, second paragraph, and this just gets into the signing up to speak at a city council meeting, and the language that is in here that you actually have to make an application for permission to address the city council. The rule of thumb has been that you called up the clerk's office between 9 and 3 of the day of the meeting in order to speak. What we're saying now is that we'll also accept that via email or on the phone, and we can do that any time from the time of the Rules Committee that precedes that meeting until the actual 3 o'clock of the day of. It shouldn't be a burden if we set it up with the MIS department. The clerk's office actually doesn't have to look at the sign-ups until 3 o'clock, but there will be a process that people can email at all hours of the night, day, and sign up, and they don't have to call. It should actually relieve the administrative purpose of that office. Item 15, on page 15, Rule 21, again, we don't have too many meetings that are not at City Hall, but we did have a couple over the summer and the summer before that. One of them involved a circumstance where we had an audio tape, but not a videotape, and we just want to make it clear that the clerk will coordinate the broadcast of such proceedings and will keep a videotape of the meeting. We do it at City Hall, but when we go off-site to Saunders or wherever, we'll just make sure that the clerk gets that video. Paragraph 20. I'm sorry, I missed that. Paragraph 20 was just that these rules and the minutes will be posted on the city website within 72 hours and remain in perpetuity. So when we have our meetings, the annotated agendas become the minutes. So we're just saying that within 72 hours of our council meetings, whether they be special or regular, they'll be posted on the website. And in addition, these rules themselves will be posted on the website within 72 hours. The minutes will remain in perpetuity. These rules will only remain during the duration of this term. During the next term, different rules that will be confusing to have all rules. So that's why we said that distinction. Okay. The street name stuff all stays the same. I believe that everything else all stays the same. Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a motion. I'd like to make a motion to recess this meeting. I can't speak for everyone else on this council, but I was handed these rules about 45 seconds before you began this meeting. We've got, on right now, what do we have here? Some 24 pages of rules. While I have every confidence, Mr. President, in your ability to summarize the changes, I think in fairness to the people who elected me and elected all of us, we should have an opportunity to read these rules, view these rules, compare them to the previous rules, confirm the changes, confirm if there are any other changes that we think might be appropriate, given that we're just receiving this. I think to expect us to vote on something this important that will govern the operations of this body every day for the next 2 years, to expect us to vote on it essentially on less than a minute's notice is very appropriate. So I move that we recess so we have an opportunity to review these.
A motion has been made, and I don't know if it's been seconded or not. Okay, it's been response, I would say that the rules are based on the rules that we've had for the last 2 years, and that specifically in the last month, both the current majority leader and I have made requests for input for rules changes. There have been a number of drafts that have been circulated. About 3 hours ago, you've got a more up-to-date version.
Which was the first draft I ever received. You handed it to me at 8:36. Our meeting was scheduled for 9 o'clock. So to your credit, I got 24 minutes notice on the first draft I'd ever seen of these rules. You spent the last 3 hours behind closed doors with certain council members rewriting these rules, and you now handed them to us less than a minute before the meeting began, and you were expecting us to vote on them.
Number one,
I think that's fairly outrageous, Mr. President.
the doors weren't closed, council members drifted in and out. We did not violate the open meetings law at any point.
I did not suggest you violate the open meetings law. I suggested that you repeatedly held closed door meetings.
Okay, well, you've made a motion, I've made some discussion on it. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll vote on the motion. Let's move on.
Yes, and along the lines, first I'd like to ask that, as it's been stated, since we're still governed by the old rules, there's only supposed to be one council member speaking at a time, so I'd like to ask the clerk to make sure to turn on and off the microphones as various council members are speaking, so that one person speaks at a time. You know, this is just it's like that, at the same time last year, Councilmember Murtaugh makes these same complaints at each reorganization meeting. The rules, there have been minor changes to the rules. We have been here for 3 hours, as Councilmember Murtaugh pointed out. We should have reviewed the changes that were made and were presented at that time, and the subsequent changes are minor and really more ministerial in nature. Councilmember Murtaugh likes to play this game of always meet. He's never given anything in time. He's never included in conversation. I called Councilmember Murtaugh a couple of days ago and asked him if he wanted to be a part of these discussions, wanted to talk about committee heads and leadership positions. And Councilmember Murtaugh basically said at that point he figured that had all been decided and that there was no need to discuss any of these things at this point. So when given an opportunity to discuss these issues, now granted that quite honestly there hadn't been changes that I had to the rules, but having looked at these rules, been familiar with these rules, and largely having been governed by these rules for the past 4 years with minor deviations from one set of rules to the next, it's not that difficult to see where the changes are. I think Mr. Murtaugh certainly could recognize the changes if he desired to do so. However, it's far more convenient to sit here and say, nobody includes me in anything, everybody shuts me out, and you guys are behind closed doors. Mr. Murtaugh was meandering and wandering around back there for quite some period of time, eavesdropping on people's conversations. So if you'd like to eavesdrop on people's conversations, maybe the approach should be, hey guys, I'd like to be a part of this discussion. But apparently there's no duty on the elected representative of the 5th District to try and get into a discussion. He would rather sit here and play the martyr and have everyone say, oh, poor Johnny, nobody lets him in on the conversation. Well, John, if you're not in on the conversation, then you're not doing your job. You have an opportunity to review these rules at any given time, an opportunity to get in on the discussion and to push your position, to be a chair of any of the committees, and as you were invited to do. You chose not to do that. You chose not to be a part of these discussions. You chose not to be a chairman of any committee. So don't sit here, once again, lie to the public, sitting here.
Councilwoman,
Sir?
well, I think the practice in the current rules is to go around and everybody has a chance to talk for 5 minutes, and then you'll have a second chance. So,
But that's not a personal privilege.
okay, no, give us personal.
Given the personal nature of the attack, and incidentally, while I appreciate Mr. McGloin's concern for procedure, I think the people of the 5th District and the people of Yonkers know he can turn off my mic, but I'll be heard loud and clear in the city. As far as any suggestion,
I'll do the same thing that John did.
As far as-
how rude it is, and consider it.
as far as any suggestion
Is that how we want to
that
continue, John?
Mr. McGloin,
I'm gonna take some